Welcome back to week 4 of the PGBL once again, and yeah, we're going to be facing MrChabry Kentucky Typhlosions, and this guy probably needs no introduction if you've been watching any of my draft leagues, because he's been a participant in both the PGBL4 as well as the PGBL3, I should say, as well as the previous two NGDLs, and we formed an interesting rivalry because I haven't beaten this guy in a draft league like ever. Yeah, literally ever. In fact, I had some of my worst losses against this guy. But he's 1-2, I'm 2-1, so it's gonna be a really important win. Plus, I really wanted just to get over the hump and finally defeat this guy. We battle a lot. Our battles are always really good outside of draft format, but he's actually had some really dominating, draft victories against me. So I really want this win. And it will do a lot to obviously create some gap going into the divisional race. Anyway, I didn't really make any changes to my squad, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into his. And MrChabry, as usual, put together another solid draft. Interesting, he's got this tier 1 choice in Heatran, a Pokemon I've used in draft leagues before, but it is kind of limited because obviously it's a X4 weakness to ground. You always have to play around. So it's a Pokemon I'm kind of intimately familiar with, and hopefully I can get the better of it this time. Yeah, Mega Lopunny. So. Mega Lopunny is really scary. Raikou is kind of like a slower version of my own Mega Manectric. So he has like an interesting, combination of speed and stuff. He has the Tapu Bulu, but I'm not sure he's going to bring it this week. The Noivern is an interesting Pokemon because he's actually been using it a lot with Tailwind, so I have to be careful of that. Now, I just want to say, just give a shout out here to 4Pips, my assistant coach. Actually, I was dealing with the death of my family. My grandmother passed away, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to prep for this match. So he was instrumental. So I just want to before the match say, yeah, he did the majority of the team building. Obviously, I had some input, and I actually played the match because he wasn't actually available. But really, thank you to 4Pips for your help, because otherwise I don't think I would have found the time, during this week to actually do it. So I just wanted to mention that. So he is probably one of the best assistant coaches I've ever had. He is fantastic, and I love the guy. Except when he defeated me at the NGDL. That was awkward. But I just wanted to put that acknowledgement up front, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into the battle. Like I said, really want to get this win against Kentucky. Really happy with what 4Pips did with the team. Obviously, I had some input in it. We talked about it, a bit before the match, and I made some changes. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see if I can come in here and get a win. So there is the Mega Lopunny, and so right off the bat, I mean, it's an interesting Mega for him to have because it does have a speed tie with my Mega Manectric. I actually just end up leading with Garchomp, and I do have Scarf Chomp. I decide just to stay in. I decide to be aggressive right off the bat. Just go for the Outrage, and I do that because I really don't like this Mega Lopunny, and I'm hoping that maybe he tries to stay in and go for a nice punch. At first, he just does that, which is fine. It damages itself a little bit. And unfortunately he doesn't. He goes into Melodic. And judging by how much this does, this Outrage, it's probably like a fully defensive Melodic. And because it does about half, which is what I would expect from like full defense Melodic. I'm just going to go for it again. I'm hoping to get the 2-hit KO here, but it's going to be a roll. Unfortunately, I don't. So it lives at red HP, and he does have the Ice Beam from Garchomp, so I'm going to lose Garchomp. Obviously, I couldn't have switched out there because I was locked in Outrage, so I kind of pay for that early aggression. But at the same time, crippling this Melodic, who is slow, I mean, it probably does have Recover, but crippling this thing, as long as I just don't go into a slower Pokemon, I think I only have one slower Pokemon, so I should be able to deal with this Melodic now. Maybe I have two. I think I have two. Skarmory and Roar. But anyway, so I'm just going to go into my Manectric, and he's going to go out into his Raikou, which is fine. Like I said, we don't have a whole lot of ways to damage each other unless he like brought in Power Ground. I didn't. Even then, it doesn't even do that much. I decided just to go for the Flamethrower, though, and it ends up doing about a little less than a quarter of this Raikou, unfortunately. I decided just to stay in and go for it again, because I want to get some damage on. In fact, this looks to be like an Assault Fast set, judging by how little damage that's doing, and I end up getting the burn on the Flamethrower, so that's something. It's some little tiny amount of residual damage. I probably want a better status on that. Well, then again, it's immune to electric, so it's immune to paralysis, so whatever. Anyway, I go for the Hidden Power Ice against this Noivern because he does switch it in, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go for the Hidden Power Ice. Ends up not quite killing it, even though the X4 effectiveness, and he ends up setting up the Tailwind. And I have to be really careful. I decided to switch out because I don't want to get... I mean, he's probably just going to go for a U-turn here, but I decided to switch out. I don't want to, like, finish it off and give him, like, a free turn, but no, he just goes for a U-turn now. So, I go to my Roar. It's the bulkiest thing I have, and obviously he's going to outspeed it anyway, so the Tailwind's not such a big deal. And he goes into Nidoking. And I'm like, okay, I do have the Assault Vest, so I'm pretty sure I can take an Earth Power. I do. And I have the Earthquake, and this is an Adamant Max Attack Incineroar, so I just go for it. It doesn't quite kill the Nidoking, though, and yeah, I leave it at just red HP, and he still has another turn of Tailwind. I decide just to sack off Incineroar, so he just goes for a Thunderbolt, and now I'm down to 4 Pokemon to his 6, so not a great start, but I do have a lot of damage on things. So I'm hoping that maybe I can wither it down, wither his team down, and then get the, you know, slice through his team with, like, Mimikyu or something. So, yeah, in comes the Raikou again as I go into my Manectric, and I just go for a Hidden Power this time, because I don't even know why. Probably should just went for the Flamethrower again, because it would have finished off that. I guess I was, I don't know what I was predicting. But either way, now I'm going to go for the Flamethrower. It should be a 2-hit KO at this range. He's just going to go for the Shadow Ball, which is okay. It's not going to do that much. I mean, he's actually... Raikou's a dangerous Pokemon, because it actually does a little more damage to me than I do to him, even though I am faster. But it is what it is. So he is going to go ahead and switch into Heatran. He keeps the Raikou around. Even though it is in red health, it can still be useful because it is incredibly fast. And yeah, in comes the Heatran, and I get completely played here. I switch in my Keldeo, and yeah, he's just going to go ahead and pop off the Bloom Day. So that's an excellent prediction for him, predicting my switch here into Keldeo. And this is going to drop me down to 3 Pokemon. Obviously, Keldeo is not going to go ahead and live this Bloom dude. So, spoiler alert. I don't think even if I had, like, the window barrier, I would be able to live this. I guess if I was sashed, I could, but I wasn't, so... I just end up losing Keldeo, and that's just really not good. I'm going to go to my Mimikyu. I don't really have a whole lot of options here. Keldeo was kind of like my check to this Heatran, so I decided just to go for a Swords Dance. Obviously, I still have my Disguise. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it now. I need some kind of momentum swing. I know that his team is kind of weakened, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get off that Swords Dance, and it's going to bust my Disguise. And I'm hoping, it depends on the spread, but I'm hoping that I will be able to kill him here with the Ghost EMZ at +2. So I decided to pop it off, and thankfully he does not switch into Mega Lopunny. I was super scared that he might, you know, just because he's just been in my head, you know, in every Draft League battle. But he has to be afraid, obviously, of the Fairy move, although he probably should have known I wouldn't use it with the Heatran out. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and take that thing out, which is definitely nice. But in comes the Lopunny, and yeah, this thing obviously does have Scrappy. I take the Fake Out. I really should have taken the Fake Out on this Mimikyu, knowing that the Fake Out was coming, but I really don't want to lose Mimikyu. I can't hit with my priority move, but I want to keep it around because he has a bunch of things that are weakened, like Raikou, that, you know, I can just kind of chip off with Shadow Sneak. So yeah, I decided to go into my Skarmory, who's a pretty good check to this Lopunny, and yeah, it does Jack Squat, and yeah, in comes the Nidoking. I just go for the Brave Bird because I know he has like the Noivern weakened. He has like a bunch of stuff that it's weak, so I'm gonna make him sack a Pokemon. So we're gonna go ahead and go for that. Obviously, if he stays in, it also does tremendous damage. He's probably just going to sack off something, though. So in comes the Noivern, and I'm obviously still thinking this thing could have Flamethrower, but I don't know for certain. I decided just to go for the Brave Bird, just to see what he'd do. I thought maybe he'd just go for another Tailwind, but no, he just tries to heal up, which is okay. I mean, this Brave Bird isn't going to do as much as he can heal for, so he does get some free healing there, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and go for the Toxic. I feel like if he had the Flamethrower, he probably would have went for it. But he still easily could. I mean, we've seen Roost, we've seen Tailwind. He probably has like one attacky move. It's probably like a, you know, it looks to be a toolbox Noivern. So it probably has some just a utility guy. So yeah, I just set up the Toxic on this thing, which is good because it appears to be a little bit bulky actually for a Noivern. So I get up the Toxic so I can wither it down. So he does set up the Tailwind, and I really don't. I'm not in any rush. He can U-turn. That's another move we've seen. So he might have one attacking move other than those 3. And it doesn't appear to be Flamethrower. Otherwise, I think he would have gone for it by now. I just decided just to go for the Brave Bird because Brave Bird should be able to kill something if he goes into one of his weakened Pokemon. It does decent damage to the Noivern, and obviously if he goes out into Mega Lopunny, it's going to destroy that because it's weakened to it. So yeah, Noivern is going to go ahead and switch down, and I think, waste 2 turns of his Tailwind. I think it's going to peter out this turn. I decided actually just to go for the Roost, because I was kind of... I think I was really intimidated there that he does have the Flamethrower and he might go for it, but he doesn't. Well, he might, I don't know. And unfortunately, that's the downside to doing that. I should have just kept going for the Brave Bird, but I didn't. I thought he would, finally attack me, but I should have known that he didn't have the Flamethrower by then, because this Melodic is going to be able to outspeed my Skarmory and just go for the Recover, which I kind of knew he would do. I don't know why Brave Bird did. I should have just Toxic'd that turn because I knew that he was going to Recover there. But oh well, he's going to go for the Scald. He's going to obviously try to get a burn on my Skarmory. Thankfully, no burn there. I do get the Toxic off. Now, these things can carry Refresh, but we've already seen this thing have Ice Beam and Scald, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe it doesn't have Refresh. I mean, it has Recover, so there's one more move other than that Scald and Ice Beam, and who knows what it is. But it's definitely worth the risk to get the thing Toxic Poisoned, because it can be so helpful to take this thing down. So he does get the burn eventually, and I knew that was going to come. I mean, it was a matter of time. It's 30%. So I can't really be that upset. I mean, it's just going to hurt Brave Bird damage, but I feel like I can still outpace the Lopunny with this thing because I do have max defense. And yeah, Toxic is going to go ahead and rack up, and I'm thinking, okay, he might recover here, so I'm going to go ahead and switch out. I'm going to go ahead and switch out to Mimikyu, and I do that because I know I can get a Swords Dance if he does recover at this turn. It ends up revealing the Refresh, so he does have the Refresh, interestingly, so now we know the last move. It was interesting that he chose to Refresh on that turn. Pretty smart, actually, because Recover, I mean, he would have lost quite a bit of health if I went for a Brave Bird. But either way, I have to hope that he doesn't Scald this turn. I go for the Swords Dance, risking it all, and there we go! No burn that turn. And now at +2, I can just go for a Play Rough, which should obliterate this Melodic and, yeah, take it out. So this thing was able to get a little bit of HP back, but now I am able to take care of it with a +2 Mimikyu. Although Lopunny comes back in, and I still want to keep Mimikyu around because he still has those weakened Pokemon. So I'm just going to go to my Skarm. He goes for the Fake Out, and yeah, that's not very effective, obviously. And I don't know how much a Brave Bird's going to do, but actually I calced it. It's going to do, I think, a little over half. But he doesn't want to take that damage, so he's going to go into Noivern again, and I'm like, okay. Like I said, I'm just going for the Brave Bird. Unfortunately, this is where the burn is really going to hurt, because it's going to... I mean, it's super effective against that Lopunny, but it's really going to hurt the damage against these things, the other Pokemon. In fact, he might have been able to even switch in his Raikou there. So Noivern is down to 25%, but he is faster, and you could probably just Roost again. And who knows? I still haven't seen that fourth move, I think, so it could easily be Flamethrower still. I decided to go to Mimikyu. You know, just be bold here, and there it is. There's the Tailwind. And I'm like, okay, we still don't know his attacking move. He has the Tailwind up, so he's definitely going to move faster. I'm just going to go for the Play Rough. I was actually trying to predict either a U-turn or a hard switch into the Lopunny. You know, thinking that he would predict a Ghost move, but it ends up working out for me because he just goes for the Roost. And that's actually probably the best thing could have happened because, well, maybe not the best thing. The best thing would be switching this Lopunny and get this thing killed, but no, killing that thing with a Play Rough is also super good. And I was thinking about switching. With Skarmory, you know, burned, I did just decide to sack off Mimikyu. It might be a mistake, and now I can go into Skarmory. And here I really should have, I should have roosted here. Because that Drain Punch after the burn might be a 2-hit KO, especially if I Brave Bird. I definitely should have roosted there, and that play could cost me the match. As you can see, it does a little less than half, but now I don't have enough HP to live a Drain Punch, so I feel like I could have really outpaced this thing if I played it smarter, but yeah, that might be the misplay. It's going to cost me the match here. The Drain Punch is going to be able to take down Skarmory. I should have roosted, knowing that if I just roost, he's not going to be able to take me out. I might eventually be able to get off a Toxic, but now I have to go into Manectric, and I do get the Intimidate on this thing, but he does have one Pokemon remaining, his Raikou, and if he switches out into it, obviously Intimidate goes away, and he can just go for a, he can flinch me with his Fake Out move. So in comes Raikou. And, you know, I ran the calc. It doesn't appear that the Thunderbolt will be able to KO the Lopunny, even if it has a neutral special defense nature. So it looks like we're going to lose this one. He goes for the Fake Out. It doesn't quite kill me. Now, this is a speed tie. Well, this should be a speed tie, but he's not running max speed, so I actually do outspeed naturally here. And I crit. And I will be the first to admit that that was purely luck. I should have lost that one. I mean, I'm kind of happy that I finally got a draft league, especially, you know, after the whole Paul Kaya thing, the 6.14%, something like that, some weird percentage that this Paul Kaya ended up KOing my Arachnid. You know, I would have killed the Palkia. I probably would have won that game, but so a little bit of RNG revenge, but yeah, I'm really sorry about that last crit. I mean, obviously, it's a game I should have lost. Looking back on the game, I mean, we got dominated early. We were able to. I am proud of how we were able to claw our way back into it. We did really good withering down the team. And I then made that mistake that should have cost me the match with the Skarmory. I should have just went for the Roost. Just reflecting on that match. And I feel like if I went for the Roost there, I would have won without relying on hacks. And yeah, so, you know, part of the game, I mean, obviously I should be 2-2 right now. So should MrChabry. I obviously will take the win. So we're 3-1. Chabry drops to 1-3. Sucks for him. Because he really played well in that match as well. It was an entertaining match. Through and through. I mean, I'm glad I got the win, but, you know, it's always going to be like, I didn't really want to win that way. Like I said, mixed feelings, because I am kind of really happy that I finally was able to best MrChabry there. Maybe my grandma, you know, kind of swayed the match in my favor. Thanks, Grammy. Anyway, so today's question of the day is actually going to have to do with Halloween, since that's coming up next week, actually, Thursday, I think, right? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. So yeah, today's question of the day is, what is the spookiest Pokemon Pokedex entry, in your opinion? As for me, it's definitely Drifblim. The thing is, like, carries children into the netherworld or whatever, underworld. Really kind of creepy. So yeah, leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. Dolphiones are 3-1, but we have a interesting matchup next week as we take on let's see, a challenger I've never played before, the Bolin Bovines, and that is Dr. Slacking. So hopefully we can get a win there and improve to 4-1. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time. Laters.